Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of YouGrind, and I have here...
Christian Kongawi.
Pronounce your last name again?
Kongawi.
Kongawi.
Yes.
Kongawi. It sounds tropical.
It's from the Congo. Originally from the Congo. Yeah.
Congo.
Yeah.
Island somewhere.
It's center of Africa.
I definitely knew that.
It can be confusing because there's two of them right next to each other.
Okay.
Not confusing at all.
Have you ever been out there?
Yeah, I was born and raised there. I still have family there. I lived there till I was 12.
Okay.
I go back once every couple of years.
Okay.
And like I said, I'm still very much rooted there. So yeah, it's still where my heart is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you grew up there.
Yes.
What is your fondest memory of it?
My fondest memory would definitely be, I would say, when I was a kid, we used to climb a lot of trees. It was lots of trees. There used to be these types of tall trees that would kind of make baskets with vines over top, like almost like 4 or 5 stories up. We used to be able to lay on top of it and kind of look at the stars or run away from our family.
Sounds romantic and very awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you ever seen shooting stars?
I have.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. Actually, at my house, I was just, out there, and I've seen a few of them. So.
Did you make a wish?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You don't
Every
have to
single
tell
time.
me.
Every
Okay,
single
good,
time.
Good. Wish upon a star.
It hasn't happened yet, but
Okay.
I definitely wished.
Yeah, just keep
wishing.
On. Yeah.
Keep working on the sky and wishing. I haven't seen anyone since I moved out here, but the lemon tree is pretty cool.
Okay.
Haven't climbed it, but it's cool.
That's cool. Did you get any good
I
lemons
haven't messed around with the lemons either.
Okay, so life hasn't
I made a movie out of it though.
Okay, cool.
So.
But life hasn't given you lemons yet.
Not that I've eaten them.
Okay.
No. Good question. Okay, take me back to your childhood though. How was it like living out there in your life?
Well, it was unconventional. I have some fond and not so fond memories. I would say, I have a big family. Our family, over there, family values are very important. It's a very religious country, Catholic, but obviously there's lots of different religions there too. I lived there till I was 10, where at that age it was in '96 my brothers and I had to leave the country because of a civil war in the area. There was so there was a lot of unrest. There was a lot of there wasn't good schools in the area because of the unrest and everything going on. So luckily, we at least came from a family where our parents really put a high importance on education. So they did everything they could, and they were able to send my brothers and I to, myself and my older brother to Canada, my little brother and sisters to the States, where we could go study, get a better education, and have a better opportunity.
So you didn't really necessarily live in poverty?
Not in comparison to, I would say, most people there. Like we were of means. Like my dad worked for American Leprosy Mission. He was a leprosy doctor. So he didn't
What exactly does that mean?
Leprosy is I wouldn't say a flesh-eating disease, but it's a disease that is more predominant in poorer countries, where I would say if you have it, there's a misconception that it's contagious, but it's actually something that occurs when people don't have access to clean water. So whenever they do have that access, they would prefer obviously drinking it or feeding their families. So it's it degrades your nerves and essentially eats away at your body, where your digits starts falling off and you start losing feeling, and and you literally kind of fall apart. There is a cure for it now, but of course you have to have the means.
And your father was a doctor.
Yes.
To cure that.
Yes.
Did he have an office, or did he go I don't know how this works.
Oh yeah, no. That was a very good question. So our home kind of had like an extension of an office. So we lived in this compound where like, you know, we'd have lots of like lepers or, you know, people with all sorts of like different types of diseases where they would come to our place, and he would help them. He would also do a lot of traveling. A lot of his work was building homes for lepers because, again, because of the misconception that it was contagious. Whenever someone in a village would get it, their entire village would just kind of like kick them out, and you know, like, and it doesn't matter, daughter, father, whatever, they'd just kind of kick them out. So he would catch word of these people and would essentially drive out to them, help them build homes for them, and just kind of like help people understand what it is, and that it's not, you know, a something that you can catch so easily.
Right.
Just unfortunately, one of the biggest things is poor hygiene and lack of access of water.
Really?
Yeah.
It's just water?
Water, yeah.
And we have so much of it in America, you
yeah.
know. Well, that's crazy. Sucks.
Yeah.
Sucks.
It's, you know, it's all but been eradicated since it was like in 2001 when they actually found the cure.
Okay.
But you know, but it's still there again.
It's still
until
happening.
You fix the water problem.
Okay.
So I mean, for example, he still works. I mean, he's retired now.
Yeah.
So every time I'd visit him, we would kind of go tour around and visit some of these people and still kind of like help them out. And one of the interesting things that would occur, he would solve the occasional problem, and we would occasionally visit this old woman in a village who, you know, she had been cured, but after, you know, she'd already kind of like lost some of her digits.
Yeah.
She was complaining that when she wake up, like more pieces of her fingers were disappearing, and didn't understand what was happening. So we hired someone to essentially like watch her sleep. And apparently what was happening was when she was sleeping, mice would come out and would nibble at her because she wouldn't have feeling in her digits anymore, so she wouldn't feel it. So the solution was to just get a bunch of cats, and that solved it.
Okay.
Yeah. Just a bunch of kitties rolling around.
Any particular person that stood out when you would see them going through this, or, you know, or how did it affect your? I'm gonna assume you were young, so your childhood or your growing up.
Yeah.
You know, your father doing this and having all these people come over and watch him suffer. Did that change how you see life now or currently?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. It gave me a lot more of an, I guess, open view of people. He always had this signature in his email that says, "Never turn away from the suffering of others." And in many ways, you know, that has kind of affected just not only how I approach people, but it's also, you know, helped me build a sense of empathy that essentially is a pretty big driver in how I interact and make relationships. I think it has guided my life a lot, I would say, and even his focus on education was always the highlight of our childhood, and in fact, so much so that it was 5 years ago was the last project that we did, but I was able to do a couple fundraisers where, and through music actually, that I was able to raise enough money to go back and rebuild 3 schools in my hometown. And one of the fundraisers, we were actually able to auction off one of Prince's pedal belt boards. So yeah, it shaped me that way and kind of my goals in life. Yeah.
Sweet. Okay. And Canada. Why not America? Why did he not choose America?
Well, there was a few different.
Because you are Canadian. You're not.
Yes.
He's the first Canadian in this podcast, so
hey,
very proud.
I'm sorry
Very
I didn't
proud of
bring
that.
maple syrup for everybody. That's It's a faux pas. Next time I'll bring my maple syrup. My parents did essentially blanket applications everywhere. There's the visa process is very extensive, and depending on which country you come from, it's treated differently. Also based on how many people are trying to get out of there. But the gist of it was that I essentially kind of got adopted by a family in Canada.
Okay.
And that family, they were also doctors in the Congo. They're from Canada, but they were always in our lives, like part of our childhood.
Okay.
All their kids were born there, and they worked with my dad. Our families were very intertwined, and when the war broke out, they actually evacuated all the missionaries and all the and anybody who wasn't Congolese, and they always kind of kept in touch with my parents, and even before we came to Canada, my parents were sending us to different places to go to school.
Yeah.
I studied in Central African Republic, a little bit in Belgium, and just kind of wherever they could get us. And when in some of these places there was also some instabilities kind of erupting there, and so when the options were becoming more and more limited, they were just like, hey, why don't you send your kids over here? And they kind of tried to do a blanket application to take all of us,
Right.
but there
How
were
many
limit-
is all of us?
There's 6 of us.
Gotcha.
They also have 3 kids of their own.
Okay.
And also adopted 2 from the Congo. So big family in Canada and big family in Congo too. So they were limited. The government kind of limited them on how many they could take. So my brother went first. 2 years later, I was able to go.
So there's 6 of you.
Yes.
Where do you stand in the line?
I'm in the middle.
Yeah.
Middle child.
We're
yeah.
big vibes,
Yeah.
middle children here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yes, I'm a middle child myself.
Okay.
So,
Out of how many?
3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Middle child.
Yeah. That shapes you as well.
Absolutely.
All right. Big family. 6. Mainly boys, girls, balanced.
Balanced. Well,
Nice.
there's more boys. We got twin sisters and 4
Oh, nice.
boys. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are they evil or good to you?
They're good. They're great to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're awesome. They live in Denver now, so I
Okay.
make time to go see them regularly.
Are they really close or not really?
They are. They haven't. I don't think they've spent more than like a month apart. They they
Okay.
obviously have their fights, and they
Right.
they lived in San Diego together for a long time. I think and then one of them moved to Denver, and I think a couple months later she moved there, and they were living together and they weren't getting along. She's like, I'm moving out, but to the apartment upstairs. So,
Okay.
so they're still fairly close. Yeah.
Are you close to any of your siblings?
Oh yes, yeah, very close. We're I think each other's biggest support system. Probably mainly because I don't think there's anybody else who understands not only what we've all gone through, but just our family dynamic more than each other.
No, but is there like the oldest, the second oldest, the younger one?
Well, I mean, it's hard to say because I have a different relationship with all of them. I would say, but I can say, out of all of them, I would probably be
Not the oldest. I know that much.
Yeah.
It's
I'm the
not the
least. I was just gonna say that I'm the least closest to the oldest.
Correct.
Because I mean, technically, all of us are not as close with him because, for a lack of
Second
better
father.
words,
Tries to be a second father.
Well, and he's also the most immature one who has
Immature?
immature, and he's kind of like he's a troublemaker.
Really?
He's a huge troublemaker.
Like he likes to cause problems within the family, or like he goes and does like stupid things,
He
kind
does
of thing.
a lot
or...
of stupid things.
For the oldest, typically
He-
they're like the wholesome ones, the calm ones, the one that wants to,
He's with a I don't know how to summarize this, but like he is a story of his own, and all of us every time we talk about him, we're just like, I don't know how that guy's still alive.
Okay.
He's had to escape the Congo a couple times. He was involved with people who were part of a coup that tried to overthrow the government.
Awesome.
And I don't think like he's somebody who was like at all an organizer. I could see him as somebody just like going along with the party and like, oh, where are we? Free booze here, cool. And just happens to be around somewhere where they're planning a coup, and things happened. He had to escape to South Africa, and he, like a lot of the people that he was involved with, they're all like disappeared. Somehow he still, and he was in South Africa. Like we didn't see him for like 22 years.
Wild one he is.
He's a wild one. He had adventures there.
Which is not really like the oldest, typically.
No. But
okay, he's pretty badass. Then
he has his issues, and so yeah, he had to also leave there, and he's back in the Congo. But yeah, he's a wild one. Yeah, he's like one we have to like keep an eye out with. He's one of the most naturally intelligent people I've ever met. Like since
street or book?
Street.
Okay.
Like he can since the beginning he's been able to take apart like electronics and put them back, like complex things, and he would get hired to repair things that people thought were irreparable. But he's the kind of guy who you would give something to repair, he would repair it, take your money, but then sell it to someone else.
Nice.
And then would be like, oh, I don't know what it was here. So yeah, he's
okay.
He's
hustler.
He's a hustler. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. All right. Do you believe in aliens? You better answer right, or
I do, but lately I've been trying to reconcile whether I believe that there is life outside of this planet. There's too many permutations, too much space, and too much that we don't know. But when it comes to the aliens, or let's call them visitors that are here or that have visited us, I don't quite know if they're from other planets or extra dimensional, or ones that were here before and left on a journey and came back and found things completely differently.
Just because we mentioned water, I say they're in the water.
There's a lot we don't know about, like the deep sea.
Right.
And yeah, there could be a whole world down there. Forget what's up there. Let's figure out what's down there first.
There's probably more down there than up there.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm still like, one of the things that I'm very excited about is the James Webb telescope that's out there. And, if there is any sort of indications that we're going to get, I feel like it's going to be through that, because, I mean, they're already discovering planets that are not only so much larger than Earth, but that are, that are showing kind of like the types of gases or, let's say remnants of what living creatures on a planet would give. And I hope that we get to answer those questions in our lifetime, but we may never. But I do. Long story short, yes. Or that was a short story long. Yes.
I like that answer. Now you mentioned growing up. You mentioned going to Canada. All right. Tell me more.
Well, I'm like I said, I'm a little bit of a wanderer, a vagabond. But since after I finished high school in Canada, I mean I'd always played music throughout high school. That's where I made most of my friends.
Now, did you go to a high school that was indoors or outdoors?
It was indoors. Yeah.
I went to an outdoor one and I was mad because I'm like, everywhere, like on TV, they're always indoors. And I'm like, I wanted that Hollywood high school experience that I didn't get. Mine was outdoors.
Really? Mm-hmm. But I mean, I feel like that would be a good change every once in a while, but it might get old. I mean,
Well, you got to leave if you wanted to.
okay. Well, I mean,
But
in where I went to school, it gets to like sometimes minus 40 Celsius.
right. Okay.
Where you're-
California, we don't have to worry about
yeah,
that.
yeah, exactly.
All right. Fair enough.
Fair enough. Yeah.
All right. You
But
got me on that one.
after high school, I mean, even the elementary school that I went to was fairly artsy, you would say. So one of the elective classes that we got to pick was a rock band class. So a lot of a lot of my
Wow.
friends, yeah.
We didn't even have like a freaking film class, and you had a
Rock band class, yeah.
rock band class. What the
Yeah,
heck?
all of us. I'm pretty sure most of us from that friend circle, like we still play music.
Well, is
to this
Canada
day.
more artsy in general as a country?
I think it really depends on where I was. Yes. If you're like, yeah, I would say there is a lot more funding for arts. Like for example, just in general, like the province that I'm from, there's a lot of grants and subsidies for artists, and in fact, like a lot of the albums that I've worked on were subsidized by the government, and
Okay.
in fact, I got given a grant to go study music in Hollywood,
Nice.
all from the Canadian government, and it's not essentially also just like free money and just do like you kind of have to like it just like any sort of like business loan, you have to like show your plan, you have to have let's say demonstrated work, but also because it's a subsidy from tourism, that you also have to kind of show that this is how you're going to promote your community in this way by you going out there and doing these things. So yeah, I've always appreciated that. There's
So I guess, did you apply for these online, or were they like through the school, or how did you?
there
What
was a
about
couple of them through my school because our school would also do these kind of like recording workshops. For an elementary school, they'd throw us on the bus and they'd take us to the CBC, the Canadian Broadcast channel, and they would teach us how things would work in a studio. They would help us write a song, and at the end of the week, we'd record and write a song. So like, yeah, my first time recording an album was in the 6th grade, and
Yeah.
so
Okay. Cool.
then through that they kind of like they would have yearly kind of workshops, and I think through the community that we built through that, they and the people that we met, some of them are the ones that kind of like suggested us to these programs. The one that got me studying in LA, that was one that's like a yearly one that you apply online, and so much so that there are people who, for example, that's their living, they're grant writers, right? And then they'll apply for the maximum amount for you and get a percentage of it at the
Okay.
end of this. So it's kind of like a gamble for them, but there's a formula to it, right?
Of course,
Yeah.
everything's a business.
Exactly.
In order to get, somebody has to work for it. It's all,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Full
And-
circle
Yeah.
on that.
And so, I've been able to, I've been very blessed in that way that, I've had a community of people that I've worked with and that have,
But you didn't mention how you got into the arts.
well, the arts was kind of in some ways forced on me. So when I did come to Canada, and even the circumstances that I did come, I had my own traumas to work with, and essentially being uprooted to a place that from 30 degrees Celsius. To minus 30. So there's a lot of challenges there. And my adoptive mom forced me to play at church every Sunday to, that's
What
just-
instrument?
the drums.
Okay.
The drums, yeah. So even throughout high school.
But
like,
why the drums? It could have been the guitar. It could
it's
have been
true. Well, I did kind of go
singing.
through it. It's true. It did kind of go through the chain, because first it was guitar. I learned some guitar. I quit because my teacher told me I had fat fingers and I got offended. I went to piano. I didn't like, I got good foundation on piano, but I didn't like my
So
teacher.
if she didn't commented that you had fat fingers, you would have still played guitar?
I don't know. I don't know.
Wow.
I don't
Such
know.
negative impact in
I
your
know.
life.
Yeah, you never know how one comment can shape someone's future.
I know.
But then it came on to drums because we at our church they needed a drummer. So and I think this was after I'd gone through the piano, guitar, or whatever. She's like, "That's it, you're playing drums." I'm like, "I don't want to." She's like, "You're playing the drums," and it was kind of it was weird because it was also that I had the same interaction that week with one of our teachers who was doing the rock band program at school, and we all didn't know what instrument to play, and he kind of lined us up and looked at us and was like, "You are a guitar player, you're a bass player, you're a drummer," and I feel like he kind of typecasted us, but it stuck. Everyone who's like, "You're
He
this,
had the
you're that."
eye.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
had the
they're
eye.
like 4 out of 6 of them are professional players at the thing that he was like,
Really?
"This is what you're
Wow,
doing." Yeah,
that's pretty badass.
yeah. So he literally lined us up, and he's like, You were a drummer." I'm like, okay.
I can somewhat do that.
Yep.
With when it comes to film and stuff, I have an eye, but it's a hit or miss
Yeah.
sometimes.
Hey.
But
Gotta.
I'll be like that professor soon enough.
Yeah. You gotta risk it for the biscuit. They
Right.
say.
Risk it for the biscuit.
Yeah.
Okay. Drums are cool. It's not the sexiest instrument. People tend to kind of go for a guitar or singing. Drum is kind of like the background where people don't really
That's why I like
wanna
it.
do it.
Yeah, I like being in the background. I like being the foundation, and
Right.
yeah.
But it's so essential.
Yeah.
The drums are so important.
it's the heartbeat.
Exactly.
We drive the bus. They say.
Yeah. Quarterback?
I would say the lead singer, the guitar player,
No,
or the
wide
quarterback.
runner. Maybe.
Maybe I'm a yay sports team type of person. Go sports.
You're but I don't watch it.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, one of those other
Side
important.
people.
Yes, exactly. Maybe the person who catches the ball and does the home run.
Right. Okay. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes. I find myself being comfortable more so behind the camera, not in front of the camera. I like the attention. I don't always have to be the center of attention. I kind of feel like you can understand that too.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like I said, I'm more comfortable when there's, people in front of me, and I don't have to.
But what you can do is very amazing. I wish I could play drums, but I can't. So I envy that talent.
I mean, you can. Everybody
Not
has.
well.
But you can.
I would probably end up breaking something. Because I would probably try and use it for therapy, because it feels like you could just
I mean, yeah, it is a very therapeutic instrument, and like I said, everybody, if you got a heartbeat, you've got rhythm, and yeah, I guess technically that would be kind of the way that I got into it as a forced therapeutic tool. Mm-hmm. So yeah, no, I highly recommend using it as therapy.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, all right. I might consider it.
You should.
Once I have a bigger place.
Yeah, your neighbors might not like it.
Yeah, they would not like it.
I feel like I'm very. There are 2 instruments that I would find very annoying to have people around me practicing. That's the drums and the violin. It's violin isn't loud, but it's just very sharp and will make you it's the equivalent of scratching a chalkboard and just piercing your ears.
So how did you know that drums was it? How did you know you liked drums?
I think I can pinpoint it to a moment where, again, going back to therapeutic things and trying to deal with the state of the world and yourself, asking myself in high school really what I wanted to do. And playing the drums was something that I kind of said that I would do and not want to strangle myself eventually in 20 years. It's something I think it was mainly, although like I'm somebody who prefers being in the background, I think it just kind of came naturally from the type of people that it brought into my life and the kind of, situations that it got myself in. And I know that while my mother initially intended it to be something that was therapeutic and that kept me out of trouble, it got me into different kinds of trouble, which I was very grateful for. So yeah, it's the experience that it brought, and it's like I know that I have other skills and other things that bring me joy, and that it was just it was merely a feeling. Yeah,
So you're part of a band when you're playing the drums, right? Or you can be.
I can be. Yeah.
How do you like? Is there notes on how to do the drumming, or how do you go about playing the drum?
I mean, you've seen the Karate Kid, right?
Yes.
Wax on, wax off.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, generally, yeah, it's when it comes, same with like guitar and any other instrument, you repeat certain motions, and when you repeat those motions, you know how they fit together, not just with yourself but with other people. So that's where the benefit of repetition comes from. It's once you build that muscle memory, it's you kind of don't need to ask yourself like what I need to do here. And there's essentially, it's just like it becomes like a language. You say, how are you doing? And say, I'm doing very well. So it's kind of, it becomes that natural. But there's also like all music is a formula. There's structure, there's cadence, so what that repetition and the and fitting in with other people teaches you what that formula is and how to kind of respond. It becomes, instead of something you try and follow, it becomes a conversation.
Right. So, but like, let's just say it's it's you're playing in the church, right? And they have established songs. So I know, like in the guitar, they have like notes for the guitar to play, and the singers to sing. But the drums, is there like a notes as well?
Like as far as
I'm
like
trying to
notation.
understand.
Oh yeah, no, like notations.
Yes,
and stuff. Oh yeah,
yes.
no. There's definitely sheet music to write and stuff like that. When I and when it comes to learning, it's very helpful to read the music. So every time I go back to work on cruise ships, we do kind of like production Broadway type of shows, and so when you're trying to ingrain it, it's good to read through the music and try and put everything in place. But for me, and I think in general, it's better to have that feeling, because I mean, it's music is about feeling and about and about pulling that feeling from people. So when you do have that kind of muscle memory, you feel it. So that's why I feel like there's, when you're learning music and you focus just on the paper, there's some people who like they can't play unless that piece of paper is in front of them, but it's very rigid because it's between lines, where it should be free flowing. If I were to talk to you like, I am doing very good today, how are you? That's kind of the equivalent of that. But same with chord progressions, for example. It's scientifically proven that certain frequencies and combination of those frequencies will make you vibrate in a certain way. And that being said, when it comes to performing music, that's why it's important to focus more on the feeling and trying to make that kind of connection, not just with the audience but the people that you're playing with, right? So I play in different bands all the time. I could play the same song in 6 different groups of people, but it will feel different because I'm non-verbally connecting with these people around me. We're kind of like making.
Does it cue you when it's like? Do you? I'm not understanding.
Oh yeah.
When you come in with the drums, does it say come in with the drums or? I'm not getting.
Oh yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not comprehending.
Absolutely. Everything has a cue. Everything has
Gotcha,
a
okay.
structure, and even like down to when it comes to playing songs that I've never played before. There's like what for example, what learning the piano and the guitar has taught me about chord progressions, because it's all cyclical, right? And
Yeah.
it's there's a formula to it. So when you start to pay attention to what that progression is, then that's when you know when to come in. Like same like jazz, it sounds really complicated, and it sometimes is, but when you strip away all the BS, it's all just like, it's a very simple kind of routine. And when I don't know the song, one of the biggest tells is like I watch the people that I'm playing with. Everybody kind of has like a tell if something is coming. They'll kind of like ramp themselves up to something coming. I'm like, okay, something's coming here, and okay, we caught it. And
Okay.
I guess so.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
Okay.
Everything has a structure that like it just comes to just like one to listening, which is why aside from playing, listening to music is very important, because you're training your ear to
Know
listen.
when
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm starting to understand a little more.
Good.
But I don't need to. It's okay.
Yeah.
The drums are a mysterious instrument to me, which I
You
can live with.
you might solve that mystery one day. It just takes a little time.
You're inspiring me to buy drumsticks.
Yes.
And drums and
Yeah.
stuff.
Or even even in an apartment you can play electric drums. But
Don't test me.
Mm.
I might take it there.
there you go.
The best way to learn is hands-on, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I mean, I because I do travel a lot, I don't always get the chance to practice, but just sitting and just kind of like, having that mental practice and listening is practice in
Are
and
you
of itself.
obsessed with drums?
Not it's weird. For a while I was, and like I feel like now sometimes I just kind of need the mental break from drums, because so I do enjoy a lot of like classical or renditions or acoustic versions of songs. I one of the downsides, I would say, of doing it for a profession, and also so part of my job when I'm working on cruise ships is doing like evaluations and quality control for venues and music programs and stuff like that. So there's a very like critical aspect of it. So I need to be critical, not to be mean, but just to improve. Like, you can always improve. So the downside of that is like that's just like a switch that is just stuck on the on position. And so when it comes to like listening to music, I need to like actively tell myself that it's like just enjoy it. Like you're not working. So, but it's still doable, but that has made me kind of like shift the type of music that I listen to some that, isn't, let's say, in my realm of critique.
Hell's Kitchen came to mind when you said critique.
Yeah. I like that.
You should make a show. Instead of Hell's Kitchen, it'll be the next America's Top Drummer. You suck, sir.
yeah,
you have
sir.
no rhythm.
Sir, get. When I watched that movie, I was my very first experience on cruise ships. I feel like I did get whiplashed in a sense. And so when we were watching this movie and people were laughing, and I'm just like, what's so funny about that? That's funny to you? It was incredibly triggering. But it's a great movie. Yeah.
Cruise ships, ocean. How do you handle motion sickness, if any?
I've never been motion sick. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Congrats.
Yeah. I
Seems
mean,
like there would be a big problem.
it would be. It would be. I'm lucky that way. I mean, some of these, but however, some of these ships are so big that, you can't feel like this last one I
Do you have
worked on.
pictures to prove that you've been in this ship?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, too many, actually.
many.
Yeah, this last one I worked on was the Celebration out of Miami, and that one holds like 8,000 people.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
Holy
it's
shit.
like 20 stories. It has a roller
Woo!
coaster. It has casinos, 50 restaurants. So they're pretty big. And so when
Where
you're
did it take you?
that one, I mean, that one we went to Turks and Caicos. We were in Costa Maya. We were in Cozumel. We were in a bunch of different places. Yeah, yeah. But
See, there's something about you in the ocean.
I do
Something
like the
about
ocean.
you in the ocean, in the
Yep,
water.
I do.
I
yeah.
sensed it since
I'm an Aquarius water sign,
Okay,
right?
okay.
I love to scuba dive. I love to be out in the water.
I'm actually not a big fan of the water.
Really?
I don't really swim well. I don't really enjoy it. I live right next to the pool, and I'm not really in the pool a lot.
I don't know. It's
We're
certain-
opposite, man.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I can live with that.
Yeah, that's fine. As long as you can swim a little. Because
Yeah,
that-
just
I
enough
s-
to survive.
Yeah, I find that's still a useful skill.
But you'll be right next to me, so
Yep,
I got nothing
exactly.
to worry about.
There you go. There you go. But no, I love the water. I love the water.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give me a cool story of this cruise ship. Any fun stories, horrible stories, terrible experiences, terrible people? 8,000 sounds like a lot of freaking people you encounter.
Well, I've been doing
Anytime that you're like, I had enough. I have to go like rest
Well-
from all these people.
Well, I mean, you just heard my whiplash. I mean, I got whiplash by my very first experience, so that was not that great of an experience. I mean, many of them popped to mind because I've been doing it for almost 10 years now. I mean, I can, being a not that big fan of the water, I can tell you of an adventure that I.
Tell me.
One of my favorite places to stop, and it seems like almost every contract has taken me there, is Cozumel, which is an island off the coast of Playa Carmen in Mexico. And it's actually where I got all my tattoos. But I would love to go scuba diving there because there is kind of like a marine preserve there. And, it's one of those places where, like, when you get your scuba license, I realized later that it's not that, like, when you go book your excursion, people check for your license. The license and the training is more for you to make sure you don't die underwater. And this came in handy this particular day. So I was like going diving once a week with this company that would essentially just pick me up from the ship, would take me out, go in the water, and would drive me back. And I remember mentioning something, being like, it'd be really cool to go spearfishing. And it's also something that you need a license for because there's a lot of safety things when it comes to shooting a spear underwater. So he's just like, oh, it's okay, man. You pay and I'll take you. I'm like, okay. So
Money
yeah,
speaks.
yeah, exactly. Hell yeah. Let's go spearfishing. What I didn't know was that because it's a marine preserve around there, they needed to take us out kind of like far out. And it also didn't take in consideration that the current would be much stronger out there. So like by the time you jumped in the water, you're just kind of gone, and it's very deep. And because the current is strong, one of the things you have to like essentially self-monitor how much oxygen you're using.
I probably would have been dead by then.
I mean, I almost was. And so because of how strong the current was, I wasn't paying attention that I was going through twice as much oxygen as I would normally.
Yeah.
And this, like, the spear gun was like one that you put the spear in and you would like underwater, like pull kind of this elastic to recharge it essentially, but you would have to go back and retrieve the spear. So I was like going after this one big guy, and I'm like kicking as hard as I can, and you're just not really moving because of the current. And so as I'm going after this guy, suddenly I feel I'm completely out of oxygen.
Oh,
And I
shit.
look, I'm at zero, and I'm about 50, 60 feet underwater. And so when you're that deep, you can't just like
Swim up.
swim up quick. You have to like do a slow ascent. All sorts of things can happen. You burst blood vessels, like you know, lungs. The bends also, yes, the bends mess up your lungs, all sorts of things. So here I am, completely out of oxygen, and all I keep
Fuck.
thinking is, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, and I'm like actually like slowing myself, you know, looking up, going as slow as possible. And at some points, like I was actually, so we wear these vests that you inflate to kind of like control your buoyancy. And at some point, I was actually like deflating it, so like to catch the air bubbles and try and breathe. And when I was getting close to the top, like I mean, you're still supposed to like stay 2 meters under the water and kind of regulate for about 2 minutes. But when I was kind of getting up there, I was starting to faint. And so I did faint, and I woke up when I was kind of above the water, and like I was kind of about to sink, and I had to then catch my breath and then manually inflate my BCD so I could float. And I just kind of had this like moment of relief. But then I remember this feeling like looking around and just seeing nothing but just ocean and in the horizon everywhere, and just being like, this is how I'm gonna die. And it's like you chose this, and this is where you are. So I just kind of sat there, had this like inflatable kind of like bright color thing. So I inflated that, and I just kind of like laid in the water for what seemed like an eternity. I was probably there for like 30, 40 minutes. But then from a distance, I saw the boat looking out for me, and they found us. So found me. So that was, yeah, that was an experience. But it hasn't deterred me from going back. So
Nice try, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nice try.
not this time.
Okay. Probably would have gotten me. Well, I wouldn't even go do this because I can't swim for shit. But probably would have stopped me for a while.
Yeah, I mean, you don't actually have to know how to swim, because like you have that little, you know, the vest.
Don't.
I'm just
No
saying.
ideas. No ideas.
Yeah. If you want an extra way to join the Darwin Awards, there you go.
Half the time I struggle with finding reasons to keep living. So you're giving me more ideas of how I can, not.
Happy to be of help.
The wild.
Yeah.
The wild. Okay. I guess this is the perfect time to ask. What's the hardest thing you experienced in life or in your career?
The hardest thing I've experienced in life,
Other than the story you just told me.
I think, yeah, like definitely separation from family is very hard, but not to be cliche, or I mean, cliches are cliches because they're true. I would say heartbreak from loss of friends and just people who you're close with. Not people who are dead, but people who
Fallouts.
Yes.
Misunderstandings.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is very easy to happen.
It's very
because
easy.
communication's very difficult.
Yeah.
Because what me and you might find appropriate, somebody else might not, and vice versa.
Yeah,
and on and
absolutely.
so forth.
And reconciling with the fact that what someone finds to be true now may not be true to them later.
Or having to apologize.
Yeah.
That's a hard one.
I mean, these days I find it easier to apologize when I find myself in the wrong. But I think it's harder to reconcile when someone else should apologize, and realizing projecting your own expectations on other people. So yeah.
It's just funny, though, because normally people who should apologize don't, and then the person that shouldn't apologize apologizes.
Yeah.
And then being nice to people that you don't necessarily like or are hurt by. That's the hardest thing right there.
It is very hard. I'm, I'm an I wouldn't say overly sentimental. I am in the sense that,
You're an artist, you have to be sensitive.
exactly. I have to be
comes-
in touch with my feelings. I have
Yes.
to be touchy-feely. So even when, even when it comes to people who have wronged me, I find it difficult to let go of those people even when I should, because of
Depends on the relationship I have with them and
That's-
what they do to me. I'm starting to find it fairly easy.
Yeah, I am learning that lesson more and more these days, unfortunately. But yes, it's a struggle. But yeah,
I guess it could start. See, it all goes back to your childhood. That big family.
yeah,
That's why you have a hard time letting go.
yep.
I'm assuming.
I think that is a very big part of it. I've had to, I'm definitely in a stage of reflecting. I think it's also I've built a sense of attachment based on I think life situations of my maybe separation with my family, wanting to hold on to people, and I think that we in many ways we recreate the wounds of the past, and that is how like our a lot of our relationships reflect that, and we kind of attract the people who recreate that in many ways, especially if those aren't healed wounds. Then we attract people who mirror that, and we feel strongly around them because they might feel like they are kind of, let's say, repairing or just repairing those wounds. Yeah, so it's a lesson I'm learning this year.
How are you getting help, or how are you improving?
Well, it through community. I'm lucky enough to, aside from a big family, and I've been fortunate enough to make a lot of close friends, who I reach out to very, very frequently. My family, but also, aside from being somebody very social, I also enjoy my solitude. So I like to get away and read a book. I think this past month I've probably read more books than I have all year, which I'm hoping to keep on that track.
Sweet. When you read, what are you reading?
The typical self-healing books.
Okay.
I read The Four Agreements, The Body Keeps Score. I read The Masculine in Me. I'm reading Becoming Supernatural, and there is one that I want to read called Emotional Intelligence 2.0. I did start it. It's one of those, but it is one of those books where I can't. It's hard to read normally. Like you almost have to have like some chapters as an audiobook, because there's a lot of pause now and reflect on this, and there's some kind of like meditation aspect of it where you can't really. I struggle meditating while reading, or yeah. So yeah.
I could see you writing a book. Can I put that in your life?
Sure. You're not the first one, actually.
Yeah.
So
With all the stories that you're telling me in your life as of now, I wouldn't want to read that book.
Okay. Well, I might have to at some point.
Just stay away from the water and the fish, and I think we'll be good.
I'm going diving next week already, so
Just don't die.
yeah.
Because I need this book to come out.
I will add that to my daily affirmation in the morning. Don't die.
Before you write this book.
Yes,
you
absolutely.
have to write this book, and then,
Yeah. I will at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but before you write this book, you can't.
That's true. Okay.
I will not allow it. I need this book to happen.
All right. It's the first step. That's
Yes.
the toughest. But yeah.
Well, you just have to sit down and start writing, which
I
is the
mean,
hardest part.
it is. Speaking of solitary time, I am taking like a little solo trip in a couple days for a week, so maybe that'll be.
I hope I inspired that.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
I think you were the tipping, the straw that broke the camel's back on that.
In a positive way, I'll take the compliment.
Okay, absolutely.
Yes.
You'll get the first free copy. How about that?
It would be an honor.
Perfect.
Okay. I'll have to find a place to put this book at, but I have time. I feel I
Okay.
have some time, so
Yeah.
get to writing.
Absolutely.
Are you, I guess before we conclude, anything you want to share, or, what's next for you other than writing?
Well, a lot of writing. I am. It's one of those pretty transitional times for me. I am essentially, taking this trip by myself to try and figure that out.
Okay.
I do have a possibility of I'm going back to a ship I've worked on out of Long Beach for the next 7 months. But yeah, like I said, it's a lot of things have changed in the past month that kind of, I guess, throw things in a bit of disarray. So, short story long, I don't know. It's an unsettling feeling, but it's also kind of a freeing feeling at the same time. So I'm going to try and figure that out. I know that at least I have some options, but during COVID, I took the time to go back to school and do some electronic engineering, and I'm considering even, dabbling in that field in a little bit. But yeah, so short story long, I don't know.
Just remember, you're the author of this book.
And you're the author of your own life.
Correct.
Yes.
So remember that. Where can people find you?
In like online
Social
or
media?
Oh yeah. I mean, at
Unless you don't want to be found.
no at I mean the easiest. I just took down a website that I was doing. But you can find me on Instagram at Kongawi, Kongawi, and that should have all the other links attached to it.
There you have it. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to this podcast, subscribe to him, and I'll see you guys next time.